Merry Maiden, welcome! I'm Taylor and today we're going to be taking on the Nian from Sims 4. So I'm also literally making this right now, obviously, but I mean like I'm also posting in the same day, so I apologize that it is a little bit later. It's just during the week it was a little bit harder to get here, and yeah, I'm here now and I think that's what matters. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So for this recipe, I did have to travel to the to an Asian market near me, which personally, like, if you feel like you have no need to go, you should still go, because you will find so many good snacks, you'll find so much good food, and sometimes you'll find like some vegetables and some other just like food items that you would be like, oh, let me get that at my local grocery store, and then they're like half the price at the Asian market, and they're just so much good. It's just good. You should check them out. You will never go wrong going into an Asian market. You will just expand your world and probably be like, oh, I'm now going to be going here weekly. So anyways, with that is where I found this wheat rice flour. Honestly, because I knew I was going to go there, I didn't really look around anywhere else. So I just looked there. There were so many different flours. It was really great. So that's all I can recommend. I'm realizing I could have showed you the box and still have had this at least opened ahead of time. So please hold. It does not come in a bag like for some reason I thought it would. So when I punctured it, that's what happened. But here we go. Here we go. We are here now. The other thing I was gonna say, so it says 500 grams. This is only about 454 grams. I'm just winging it. I'm just saying, all right. Like for 50 grams, I don't think it's that worth it. Okay. All right, and yeah, so right now we're just mixing together all of our dry ingredients. This is essentially a cake. So it's rice cake because this is rice flour, right? So I know whenever we think of rice cakes, there's so many different forms. There's, is it tteokbokki? I apologize if I mispronounce that, but that's when it's like a soup that has rice. We will be making that. That is also in Sims. I'm very excited for that. Oh, it's so good. So that's like a different form of like rice cakes. And then there's like, I don't know if this is super Americanized, but I feel like if it was in my household growing up, it's probably a little white. But those like rice cakes when it's like a disc, you know, of like rice puff. And so that's like, when I hear rice cake, that was the first thought. And then later it was again, I apologize if I mispronounce it, tteokbokki. And now this, I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, I wonder what a rice cake will taste like. Oh my gosh. And then salmon bakes, could you call those rice cakes? Because they're just rice, you know, it's just layered. But anyways, so it's a rice cake because the flour is made of rice. Thank you for being here for that tangent. My point to this being is that it is just essentially a cake we're using. So we have a cup of dark brown sugar, we have half a cup of granulated sugar, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I don't know, when you don't have that much salt, like those little bits maybe matter. And then, you know me, I always this recipe does call for it, as always, linked below. But I always believe in whisking your dry ingredients to help distribute it all so much better, no matter how much you're adding. So like this one, we obviously have a little bit better of a mixture we need to go through. My brown sugar's a little old, so we have some chunks, so we're gonna try to break those up. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Oh. Because since the rice flour is like so thin, like this cake, well, you know what, honestly, I'm also going to be using a chia egg, so we're not going to get like as beautiful as like the Sims or even this recipe looks like, because it has that like tan color. We're just not going to be able to we're going to get it, it's going to look like it has those chia seeds all throughout it a little bit more, because that's what we're doing. And so it also seems like we might just have some pockets of brown sugar. That just means there's certain parts of the cake that are just so good. I know we're not doing like vegan butter in this, but that just makes me think about like pie crust. and how like you want to have like those spots of butter in them so that like it gets that flakiness. Anyways, I know it's not the same, but apparently that's where my brain's going. This is what I mean. This is why we're here today, just going through this. Like, this is the most mood in check you'll ever get from me. Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm honestly, again, it's good enough for me. Good enough for me. So we're going to go ahead, set this to the side, and we're going to work on our wet ingredients. Also, forgot to mention, you do want to already have your oven preheating at 350. So as always, we will probably hear that go off in one of these. And then we do have a pan set to the side as well that is oiled up. I am not using a 9x12. I don't have one. I have a 9x9, I believe is what it is. So that's what we're using. Actually, I think it's 8x8. But it just means that I'll probably have to bake it longer since it won't be as thin. So, but it should work out fine. Like, we're meant to get at least 2 layers out of this batter. And we'll definitely get that, you know? Okay. All right, merry meet again. So here we are. We're gonna go ahead and get our wet ingredients all mixed together. So it's just kind of a lot. Honestly, this is not, I would recommend probably a bigger bowl for this. She also mentions you can just use an 8-cup measuring cup because, and I totally agree, since you're going to be mixing all of it together. So if you do have something that you can just like measure the cups on this side, you can just go ahead, measure your oil, measure your milk, and then you just put your egg mixture after, because since those don't matter in regards to like their quantity is already fixated by something else. Anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and just mix all these together. I only have 1 large whisk, so we are just going to use the same one, but we have 2.5 cups here of plant-based milk, as well as a cup of avocado oil. And I did buy avocado oil just in case it was like, no, you have to use this particular one. Also, not a bad thing. Recently had avocado oil on squash with some black garlic. Oh my gosh, changed my life. Changed my life. Put some veg egg on top. Good. Sorry, I don't know what that was. Apparently it changed my life that much. And we're just gonna mix, try to make it a little bit cohesive. Also, super random thought, I've been thinking about it lately though, because I've been eating a lot of the veg egg lately, is when I made that lemon curd, if you know, you know. I think instead of using water, because water wouldn't mix with oil very well, I wonder if I could have made it, like melted the butter and mixed the veg egg directly in with the fat, or chosen another fat to mix it with. And then maybe that would have made a better veg egg. I don't know if it still would have solidified, but it at least wouldn't separate in the fridge, which, again, if you know, you know, it's still fine. You just have to shake it up, but sometimes that's disconcerting to see. Okay, so this is, see, you can kind of tell when it's not as homogeneous, because if there's like oil pulling towards the sides, right? And so that's what we're just trying to make sure we get completely. Okay. All right, merry meet again. Here we are, just classic combining the ingredients into this. And so we create a little bit well here to make sure it goes a little bit easier. And so we have a rubber spatula now, and we're going to go ahead, just pour it all in there because we have no control. No. But so she recommends you still want to hold on to that whisk, and she recommends using this. She's a really great, the recipe we're following here, really great. It is written very well. I don't think she has a button to like jump down to the recipe, but the way she writes her recipe is so thoughtful regarding this. So like she says in this, like she's like, hey, like you want to use a rubber spatula to begin with, because otherwise if you use a whisk, it's going to clump up. And we can already kind of see that here. So that's why we're like having a little bit more of a gentle moment here to incorporate this. And then she says once it's a little bit more mixed in, you can switch back to the whisk. And then it's like pancake batter, which is why it's interesting, because I've learned I don't like mixing with this because I typically can't get it towards the end, typically around this phase. So like I'm gonna do this a little bit more, and then we're gonna go ahead and switch to the whisk, because when I make pancakes I just stick with the whisk like the whole time, honestly. So here we go. And also, our chia eggs, since it's so much, aren't so bad. Oh my gosh. I need to remind myself that because we use chia egg, that's what those bumps are gonna be. That's not flour. It's gonna be, I feel like this whisk is gonna be breaking soon. So we'll cross that bridge when it happens. That's why I'm gripping it so low, because I don't want it to be pulled out from here. So that's why I keep gripping it there instead of letting it just feel like it's gonna fall apart. Okay, I'm literally just mixing this right now to make sure, but there we go. We have that like pancake-esque batter. Okay. All right. So now what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and pour in half of this batter. I'm realizing I could have kept the spatula. So, well, we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna, oh my gosh. Marry me again. So here we go. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put only half the batter in here right now. Like I said, we're making essentially a layered cake, but not in the way we've made layered cakes before. I'm not gonna say traditional because this is quite literally a traditional dish. So it's just not the traditions I've done. And that's okay. Better, right? Because it's learning. I feel like that's not quite half. So we're gonna do a little bit more. And I'm gonna call, because it's supposed to cover 9 by 12. You know? She says about 3 cups. And I'm not gonna lie to you, worst case scenario, right? Like the bottom's thinner. I would rather have the bottom be thinner than not have enough for the top, you know? But apparently I feel, okay. I'm gonna call that. I'm using intuition on this one. I should have just measured. She said it's about 3 cups. Why didn't I just measure 3 cups? Why not? Why didn't I just do that? Anyways, moving on, now that we've made our decisions and accepting that we've made our decisions, we're going to go ahead, put this into our preheated oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. And so we just want it to be partially set and for the edges to look dry, but the center is still gonna be damp. So when you pull it out, like see how it jiggles a lot right now? We want it to make sure it's firm because we're going to be putting red bean paste on top. So we don't want that to fall into it. All right, check in with you once we're at that point. Merry maid and welcome back. So you can kind of see hopefully on the camera how it does have like those little dried edges, right? But it is still hot, so we want to be careful. And so it is a little bit more set, and so you can see how it doesn't move as much. It has a little jiggle. So with this, we want to be very careful. We have a red bean paste. They were out at the market when I went, so I did have to order this, unfortunately. But typically this is a staple at markets, which is why they were out. It's so popular. I love red bean. So what she recommends doing, and because I want to make sure I'm doing this right, is to dollop them. Ooh. And I'm pretty sure it's so that it doesn't like completely break it. I'm almost about to use this like a piping bag though, so because I'm just gonna use all of this. It smells so good. But yeah, so I'm gonna do this, and then I'm going to just pour the batter on top of it. We're gonna bake it some more for about oh my gosh, 40 to like 45 minutes. Yeah, since we're gonna like, so it'll be I'm very curious how this works with not drying out the bottom, or if it's because of the red bean paste. It doesn't matter, because when you're eating it, this is going to stay like decent. Oh my gosh. Yeah, with that, I'm gonna go ahead, finish this, and I'll check in with you guys when I'm pouring the batter. See you then. All right, thank you for being here. So here we go. We have these all there, and hers, it's interesting because she did start like there and then she tried to fill in, so I just tried to do that too. Yeah, and then she just pours it on top, and that's what we're gonna do. Okay, yeah, definitely could have done less on the bottom, but we have enough. So, anxiety, take that. Yeah. Because, yeah. Unfortunately, my chunks are also just a little bit bigger than hers. But yeah, it does look like hers, where it just kind of like briefly covers it. I'm trying to just redistribute in those areas where I necessarily didn't have the red bean where I needed them. And smooth it out a bit. See? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Hold on. Love red bean paste. I know I've already said that. I don't care. I'm very excited. So with this, we're going to go ahead and continue cooking this. And so she does recommend rotating the pan halfway through. Typically, this is also something recommended for gas oven. So I don't know if it's particular for this or if she's just experienced that with her oven. So I will say that. And then yeah, and so you might see it like puffing up. That is okay because it'll fall when it cools. But from there, we're going to sorry, I just realized this video maybe not coming out on Saturday until like Saturday evening, because it does need to rest for 4 hours while it cools. And then because the longer it rests, the easier it is to handle. So that'll be very exciting, and I guess we will have this for dessert tonight, and I'll taste test with you guys then. Merry meet and welcome. Thank you for, you know, waiting this long. Sorry, I think I'm so funny. But here we are. So you can see it's a little bit darker than I would have liked it, because I've never cooked with rice flour, and if I would have thought things through, because I've eaten mochi. I love mochi. That's the flour they use, and so that's what you get. And so it is, I want to pick it up for you, so sorry. So you can kind of see, because of just how it is so like, I don't know how to describe it, because I don't think I could have done the layers any better, to be honest. But it is so good, but it is like, it's got that chewy texture that you get from rice flour, and it makes sense. It just makes sense. So it makes sense why she said, like, you want to definitely make sure that it rests, otherwise it's going to be very sticky. I thought she just meant because of the red bean. No, because of the rice flour. But it's so good. Totally worth it. Super easy to do too. Does it take like all day? Kind of. But it's also the kind of thing where you could make it, and if you do it in a glass pan versus like what I was using, you can just take that, right? You can just take it like to like a meal gathering and whatever you're doing, and then just let it cool in there, and then people can cut it out as they work at it. So not bad. I'm so proud of myself right now. I just feel like this was so easy. It's something I've never done before, and thank you, Sims. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.